Awesome. Okay, so hello, my name is Smare, or Sarah. I'm from Canada. Yes, I'm known as Canadian. Anyway, I'm here to demonstrate, so you asked a lot, how I do my armor for my Zelda cosplay. So I figured I'd show everyone a very easy and basic method of how to make simple costume armor from beginning to end. For anyone that's new here, this isn't actually a workshop, it's more of a demonstration now, because the technique that I'm using takes more than an hour to do, so I couldn't really get you guys to do the whole thing in an hour, so not really a workshop. So the first step you want to do in any costume making is research the characters, obviously. So you're going to want to find out more about the character and the armor itself, and get as many reference pictures as you can for details if you really want to get down into the detail, and then actually go buy your material. So what I use is just what you can find on any Walmart or dollar store called Fandemonium, and I'll actually pass some people around. So it starts off really soft, really almost flimsy, and you think, how does this turn into that? Well, it's actually a few processes of complication, not really. So what you want to do is, the next step, after you've got all your material, apply your paint in advance if you can. I use acrylic if you want to hand paint, or spray paint. Works really well. Or whatever paint you want to use, they all work. You also want to pick up some white glue, just Elmer's white glue. Toothbrushes if you don't have scissors or X-Acto knives. That should be it. Other than the detail, you can buy gems, or you can buy anything else for it, straps, ribbon, whatever else you need. Keep that up when you buy. I guess you can go back to the store. Go now and buy it. The other thing you want to get your hands on is hot glue guns. They are your friend. They're any of their friends. For this technique, you really want a hot glue gun because they are like heavenly. Low town, you can use high town, but don't get the dirt, it will go off. The third thing you want to try and get is, if you can't, try to get a locking gun. If you can't find one of these, which I don't actually know which one it is. I don't know. Okay, well if you can find them, they're like, probably at craft stores. If not, hair dryer will work, or your stove will work, or the stuff that okay, so after you have, the second step you want to do is create a stencil. You don't want to start cutting into the foam right away. I mean, it is cheap, but it's easier if you start off making a stencil for it first. So buying some cardstock or tissue paper, or even regular paper will work. I use cardstock. It cuts funny, but it doesn't matter because it's a stencil. It's just so you can get any piece you need identical. So I use it for all my Zelda pieces so they all look the same at the front. So I use stencils for all of that. So after I've got my stencil looking like how I want to look, I'm happy, I've measured it out, it looks good, I'm happy with all the cutting, then I start cutting the foam. And to do that, I take pins, sewing pins, any kind of pins, and I tack them through the stencil into the foam. Everywhere that's a small detail piece, you can see on the Zelda armor, there's always really fine detail parts. I tack all those individually down, so when I'm tracing it, it doesn't move around and get all bummed. So the pins just help hold the stencil into place. If you don't have to use them, if you just plain again, that's fine. The pins I find are extremely helpful using that stencil onto the foam while you're tracing. The trace, I prefer pens, believe it or not, with pencil on the foam. It goes on really easy glides, and pencil can only crack the foam if you push it deep. So for sure use just a ballpoint pen and go around. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it because you can't trace over it and it's going to get covered up by the paint anyway. So again, and just a side tip, permanent marker, spray paint does not go over permanent marker very well at all. So just a side tip. If your spray paint you use, it doesn't matter. Yeah, try to avoid permanent markers. So after you've got it all traced out, then you start cutting. I prefer using scissors to X-Acto knives. Now a lot of people that I've come across like X-Acto knives because they can get right down there. I'm fond with X-Acto knives. I hate using them because I've cut myself so many times, I can't get corners straight, my circles, my edges, and my round pieces look really funny. So I try to avoid them. I use scissors because I can, the technique that I use is when you're cutting around a circle, don't cut all the way down on the scissors, just cut a little bit and then continue on and almost slide this corner and then finish the cut. And that will make it even around the circle on any piece that you need. Again, you can use X-Acto knife. If you're better with X-Acto knife than with scissors, by all means, use one. And you are far more talented than I am with one, if you can. And then you get all your pieces cut out, keep them together so you don't lose them. I can't remember how many times I lost a piece because I hadn't kept them together, and suddenly I'm like, where's that piece? I just had it, and it's somewhere on my floor, and my cat ate it. And I have to make a new one, which is not a huge deal if you draw out the film. Again, it is only, like, where I come from, I can get a sheet about this big, cutting with for about $1, and that's Canadian. That would be like 70 cents for you guys, or something. I know that you can get them at Walmart for like 47 cents, and they come in all different colors. Again, colors doesn't matter, paint over it, and then you don't want paint over it, which you get whatever color you want. So then you've got it all cut out, all put together, and then you want to start assembling the pieces, if you have pieces to assemble. So with Zelda, as you can see, there's a line there. I've got two separate pieces of foam. So the top part for a stencil and the bottom. But it's a flat board stencil, flat board piece of the arm, and then the stencil on top. And it's connected to, I just use hot glue. All I use. And not even around the whole thing, just in the crucial pieces, because it will get stuck down together with your next layer. So hot glue it all down into place as best you can. The only exception is if you have a piece that's really tricky that you need to bend in a really funky way, like with this arm piece, you can see that I've got two pieces connected. I had to hot glue this particular piece after I bended it and molded it all together because it wouldn't bend properly with this bottom piece here. So I had to connect it afterwards. So that's the only exception that, if you've got a really complicated piece of armor, you've got something scooping down this way or something scooping down this way, connect them after you molded them because it'll make your life a lot easier. We're trying to connect them and then mold them and then something happens and we have to take it apart. If at any time you come across something like you connected them and it's not shaping right, just take either your embossing gun or stove or whatever and heat the piece up because the hot glue will melt and you can separate them again. So that's also a good thing. Not because you're wearing it in heat, but it does work. So you've got it all glued together, you've got your hot glue together, it's all ready to go. Now you want to shape it. Well, I guess that really depends on what's that. There are two methods to covering the foam with the paint. If you paint directly onto it, because the foam has a porous texture, it's really squishy and porous, the paint will kind of seep into it and give it a almost sponge-like look. And for armor, if you're trying to make a metal look, you don't want that particularly. If you look on the underneath of the armor, I haven't coated it, it kind of gives it that sort of sponge look. If everyone, I can pass this around and make it closer look. So, you can come up and look at it after too. What you want to do is coat it. There's two methods. One of them is you can go and get a laminate, just from any like a FedEx or Kinko's or any place that does lamination. Go and ask them for a sheet of laminate. It's just a really thick plastic that will cover paper in. And I don't know if places you're charged for it, but I got some in Canada and they just go, oh,